Hello everyone, this is teacher Joanna again, and for tonight's lesson, we're gonna focus on three of the most confusing patterns among the patterns in the 12 tenses. Okay, so for tonight, I have actually here some questions from a civil service reviewer, so we're gonna try to answer these ones later on. Okay, so let's answer this later. But for now, let's focus first on the patterns that I mentioned. Okay, so we have the patterns like has been. Okay, we also have been, and we have, okay, had been. Okay. Now for today's lesson, we're just gonna focus on their differences when they are used in the present perfect continuous and past perfect continuous. We're not gonna focus on the passive form because these patterns can also be used in the passive form. Okay. So like what I've said, it's only for the present and the past perfect continuous tense. Okay. Yeah, so I will have actually a table here, okay, so that we can compare them better. Okay, so let's talk about first present perfect continuous, okay, or present perfect progressive actually for the American grammar, but they are totally the same. Okay, and then we have of course past perfect continuous, okay? Yeah, or the past perfect progressive form. Okay, so they are just the same. Okay, so let's talk about the difference first. Okay, right. So we have like has been, have been, and had been. Has been and have been are actually used for the present perfect continuous form. Okay, so we have like has been plus the ing form of the verb. Okay, and also we have been plus the VING form of the verb. Okay, now what is the difference first between the two? Okay, we use has been if we have singular subjects all the time. Okay, so for example, let's have the sentence or the subject Jermaine. Jermaine is actually like singular, so I need to use ing. Jermaine has been studying. Okay, and then right. So for other pronouns too, we use has, okay? Like she or he has been studying. For Jermaine, it's he, of course. He's a boy. And then for have, okay, let's have the example. For example, Jermaine and Joanna have been studying. Okay, so Jermaine and Joanna have been is used for plural. Okay, don't forget this, okay? Plural subjects, okay? Right? And another thing, it is used for the pronouns I and you as well. Right? Okay, so you can mean one. For example, if I'm talking to one person, I can say you are smart, right? But we have to use have been for you. And I, although it's just one, we have to use like have. Okay? So for example, I have been studying, you have been studying. So that is the pattern for that. Okay? So has been and have been plus ing. Now, for the past perfect continuous, we can actually use had been plus, of course, the ing form as well. Okay, and then for this case, it doesn't really matter. We can actually use that for the same thing, right? So, although whatever it is, actually, you can actually you can actually use that for singular, okay? So for singular, okay, you can use that for singular subjects and for plural subjects. Okay, for example, right? Jeremaine had been studying English, okay, for example, before he moved to the United States, like that. And then for plural, Jermaine and Joanna had been studying English before they moved to the United States. Okay, so we're gonna focus on the uses later on, okay? Now, for the present perfect continuous, we have to remember this, okay? Now, since and for can actually be used for the present perfect continuous tense. Let's study for since, okay? Since can actually be a conjunction. Okay, so as a conjunction, the pattern is actually since plus subject plus verb plus the rest of the sentence. Okay, and of course, the past of the verb here is in the simple past. Okay, let's have an example sentence. Okay, Jermaine has been studying since he arrived in the Philippines. Okay, so there's a subject he inside the clause, and then arrive is the verb in the simple past tense. And in the Philippines, of course, that's an adverb. But since can also be a preposition. if that is a preposition, you can actually like use like since, okay, plus of course the noun form, or like you can like use year, okay. You can actually like use like time, okay. For example, Jermaine has been studying, okay, since 2002. Okay, for example, like that. Okay, and then we can actually like use for as well. Okay, now for this case, we only like use for as a preposition, not for as a conjunction, because it has a different thing. So the pattern is for plus noun. Okay, yeah, let's have an example. We're gonna study the difference between since and for in the next videos. Okay, so not for now because it's gonna take really too long. Okay, so for example, Jermaine has been studying, okay, for example, like for 12 years, okay? So you can say like that, okay? So you can use like for and since, okay? Now, for the past perfect continuous, okay, you cannot use since for this pattern. Impossible, okay? Right? But you can actually like use for, okay, as a preposition as well, okay? So let's have an example. Yeah, Jermaine, okay, had been studying, okay, for 12 years, okay, before he moved to the United States, okay, to the United States of America or to the USA, okay. So as you can see there, okay, yeah, we use for 12 years, okay. And then if you can notice the difference between the two, the present perfect continuous tense, okay, has only like one action. Except if you're gonna use since, okay, because it's just like it just wants to focus on when it started, okay. So it just focus on one action. For this, there's only one action, studying, okay. Remember that, except since. But for this case, we use that when we have like two actions and the action should be past action. So you always have to check how many verbs are there, okay. Right, so this one, it has only one, and this one, it has two. This one, study, okay, that is the verb, okay, has been studying actually. And then the other one is has been studying and then moved, okay. So if the second action is simple past, you have to use the past perfect tense. But you have to be careful. I'm going to write sentences and tell me the differences, okay. For example, Jermaine, okay, blank, read this book, okay, for example, like for 5 hours. Okay, and then I'm gonna write this. Okay, so Jermaine, okay, Jermaine blank, okay, read this book, okay, mm, since he finished his homework, okay, right, and then here, okay, Jermaine blank read this book, okay, right, blank his book, okay, before he did his homework. Okay, so you have to be very careful. Okay, and then number four, Jermaine blank read. Okay, this book for 5 hours, for example. That's really long. Okay, before he did his homework. Okay, so the first thing that we have to do is actually like check if there is only one action or two, right? So let's have the first one. We how many actions do we have? Only read. Therefore, it is present perfect continuous, not past perfect continuous. That's why we have to use these patterns. But what are we gonna use? Has been or have been? How many is Jermaine? Jermaine is only one. So has been, and then the ing form reading should be used. Okay. Now for this case, Jermaine blanked this book since he finished his homework. Right? There are two actions. We have read and we have finished, okay? But you have to check, like what I've said, if there is since, okay? It means that is actually present perfect continuous. So the sentence is the same. I mean, the answer is the same. It has been reading. So Jermaine has been reading this book, okay, since he finished his homework, okay? So that's the thing. And then, so it means like when he finished his homework, he started, okay, reading the book, and until now he's still reading. Okay, right. So for this one, Jermaine blanked this book. There's a one action, and there's another action. He did his homework, right? And let's check, is that since? No, it's before. Okay, right? So in that case, right? So Jermaine, okay, or let's change it into when. Later on, I'm gonna discuss the differences between when and before in our other videos, right? So Jermaine, okay, right? Okay, Jermaine had okay, or let's put like for 2 hours, okay? So Jermaine blank his this book for 2 hours before he did his homework. Right. So for this case, right, of course we have two actions, so that's why it should be had been reading and reading. And for the next one, the same thing. Right? It should be had been reading. Okay. Now why did I actually like add for 2 hours? Okay, and why did I like try to use one a while ago? Because there's another use of the past perfect continuous. The past perfect continuous is used when you have like two past action and the second action force the first action to stop. Okay, for example, mm, let's have the example like I had been watching TV when the electricity went out. I had been watching TV when the electricity went out, right? So in that case, there are two actions. The electricity went out, I and then had been watching TV, right? So the meaning here, I was in the middle of watching TV when the electricity went out. Because of that, I had to force to stop my action. Okay, so that's the thing. But we're gonna focus on the meanings of past perfect continuous later on. We just have to differentiate them. Okay, so let us try to apply what we learned. Remember that, okay? Has or have plus been plus ing, okay, we it only has like one action. Okay, it can have like two actions, but okay, it's not really two action because like one action, okay, plus since, okay, of course the since have the simple past tense, so only that. And then of course like had plus been plus ving, we have two past actions. Okay, so that's the thing, right? It has to be two past action. Let us check. He blanked living in New York until he moved out in 2020, 2002. There is actually like moved here, okay? And there's no since, okay? So, what is the answer? Is it has been or had been? Of course, it is actually like had been, right? Now for the rest, okay, I'm gonna like let you answer uh in the comment box later on, okay? But I'll give you hints, okay? For number two, where was Jermaine? We blank for him, okay, since 5 o'clock. Okay, I'll give you a hint. They were looking for Jermaine. That was the first past situation, okay? And then blank, waiting for him since 5 o'clock. Okay, so there are two, right? Okay. And then, right, but here it's like a combination, okay? So we blank waiting for him since 5 o'clock, okay? And until that time, okay, they were still waiting for Jermaine. Not anymore, not in the present, okay? So what is the answer for that? Okay, think about it. And then Jermaine blank watching the drama for 3 hours. There's only one action. And Jermaine blank watching the drama for 3 hours when his friends came. There are two actions. There's no since as well. Okay, so think about the answer. And number five, the students, okay, blank very excited for the tour until it was canceled due to the bad weather. So there were two past events as well. Okay, so think about it. And here, they blank talking for over an hour before Mary arrived. Okay, so yeah, let's see what that part, what the answer for that one is. Okay, so there are two past actions. Okay, so that will be all for tonight. I hope this helps. In case you have a question, feel free to comment down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And let's keep on studying English grammar the fun and easy way. Have a good night.